Hey guys, so today we have two special guests, John and Matt, and they've been able to scale their consultancy to 100K a month using a unique cold outreach system called the CCC system. When I heard of the system, I was kind of mind blown, right? Like I was just like, holy crap, how are they making this work? This is so cool. This is just so interesting. So before we get into this unique system that they have, I want to first let them introduce themselves.
So I'm Matt, and my background is I was working in a corporation like most of the people. I wanted to quit, and then I started freelancing. So I started freelancing and moved to Asia, and then from freelancing, I was selling websites. I converted into an agency model where I started hiring people for lead generation. I started hiring a sales team. I started hiring people for project management and the delivery. And then at this time, I was traveling around the world. I was making some YouTube videos. Then my best friend joined me, and we were traveling around the world running an agency and basically documenting the whole journey. And as I was documenting this journey with him, I actually got a lot of people interested in the same systems that we're using, and actually converted this company into consulting, where I started consulting other agency owners over the last few years on how to repeat this process for themselves, how to be location independent, how to run your agency. So pretty much classic story, converting from an agency to consulting. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Now it's a few more years, I think a couple of years after this, we've consulted and coached, I think, 300 plus clients to start their agencies, start their consulting companies, education companies. And the rest of the story really connects with John here. So I think maybe you share your story and then share how it connects.
Of course, yeah. So my background is actually I was a freelancer. I did some copywriting, and then a couple of years ago I decided that I want to learn more about sales. And his old videographer is his best friend. He actually built this video agency and they sell the explainer videos. And I saw his YouTube channel. I became a subscriber. And he shared with me or with other people that they're searching for salespeople. So I applied to become a sales guy. I became the best sales guy in this video agency, and I pretty much helped them to build the sales structures, to build a sales team that helped them to grow from 20 to over 100K per month. And then later on, I decided to start my own consulting business. And a couple of years later, I actually hit up Matt, and we decided to merge our companies because he has a great background with recruitment, with marketing, and I'm more on the sales side. So yeah, a couple of months ago we decided to merge our companies, and now we have one company.
Cool. And so what is this cold outreach system? How are you able to scale? I believe that, for example, that video agency from 20 to 100K a month, and now you guys are scaling pretty aggressively over 100K a month. What is the system?
I want to share the steps that are in the system, and then John could get more into details of how this works. So the system has essentially 5 steps, and it's really simple. It's actually surprisingly simple. People think that, hey, I need like 7 different funnels, I need this advertising, I need this organic method. It's all true, but our system is really simple because it is not really dependent on any platform. You can just do it. Nobody can block you. Nobody can say, hey, you cannot make those ads. Nobody can really tell you that there is a limit of scale. There is no limits. You can just hire more people and scale. CCC means connected cold calling. So it's essentially about connecting with your customers first on either social media or somehow through letters. And then once you connect with them, you can call them and refer to this connection that you make. So there is some kind of connection between calling them and talking with them before. So it's not really as random. So it's connected cold call. And the system has 5 steps. It's recruitment of sales team. So now we're talking about a bigger scale, not just you doing this yourself, but recruiting the sales team, hiring and contracts, and you can do it remotely all around the world. You can hire people anywhere and work with them over Slack and CRM systems. Then you have a team onboarding and training. And then very important part is the structure, which is a CRM system that you use, like for example, Pipedrive. And then you have KPIs that you need to set for your team. And the last step is accountability. And for this accountability, you really need a great sales manager, a great sales person, which is really the background of John. And maybe you could share more about how the system works now. So I just shared the general helicopter overview of the steps we need to build it and scale it, but maybe you can talk more about the system, since you were the one behind creating this ridiculously effective system of overtaking the world of sales.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, I just want to confirm, like, so basically what you do is you reach out to the Facebook Messenger, right? And be like, hey, you know, start a chat and cold Facebook Messenger, which a lot of people do, or maybe LinkedIn. But instead of the usual approach, which is like, okay, keep trying on Facebook Messenger and LinkedIn, you guys are basically cold calling, or well, now it's warm calling because you already made a connection. So you combine two different strategies that nobody really combines, which is basically cold outreach through Facebook Messenger, through LinkedIn, with cold calling, which nobody really likes to do. But because of the fact that you're calling them after you've already kind of warmed them up a little bit with a little chat, they're much more open. So it basically is kind of this combined method. Is that kind of the right?
Yeah.
Am I getting it?
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So actually, like, I created this method because I was quite impatient with people on LinkedIn. Like, they texted me back and they gave me their number, and usually our process looks like this. They give us the number and then we send them a calendar invite and then we schedule this appointment. But like, I had this thing that sometimes people just respond to me like 1 or 2 days later. So then I just figured, okay, why don't I just give them a call? So then I booked in the appointment that was already kind of like set. But then I was thinking, hey, if that works well, because people reacted really positive and they know my name already, why don't I just give them a call like after I connected with them? So actually it's quite simple. So it doesn't matter if it's now LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, you just need to find one touch point and you need to get the conversation a bit hooked. So like, you need to get a bit of investment from the other person, like just respond to one of your questions, and then you give them a call. And then it's quite simple. Like, you give them a call, you say, hey, look, we were connecting on LinkedIn. Do you remember the name John Harder, for example? Like 95% of people say yes because you just texted with them. And then you're like, look, before we text here and like a bit here and there on LinkedIn, let's just have a quick call. I think it's more effective for you and me, so we can get to know each other, and if we can like work together. It's kind of like a bit like under the radar, like a bit more like the networking frame. And you can even add something like, look, I was on your website, I see what you're doing. We work often with clients like you, and I think I can add you some value for your marketing, sales, recruitment, whatever you're selling. And then most of the people react really positive. So that's kind of like how you do the CCC method, like how we developed it. And I think that's also like the magic of this thing, because I think like many people, they think like to go to 100K or 500K or whatever, you need to have like really complicated funnels. But I actually think like the more simple the funnel, the easier it actually becomes, because you have one focus.
And less friction.
Exactly, less friction. And you can just repeat it over and over again. So like, here's also the thing, like to be able to repeat this process, you need to have people who are fine with this. So that's a bit about the sales team here. Like they need to be able to like do repetitive tasks. And like Matt, he is pretty much hiring those people. He knows exactly how to find people. So like, I'm more on the side of like then telling them, okay, look, these are your KPIs. For example, you need to have 80 call attempts a day, and then you should book 5 calls per day. But like not everyone will be able to just call people. So you need to have the right people with the right mindset, because like, if you have people who are really, really creative, like they just try to like run in different directions, like then they will try to do another funnel or whatever. Like some salespeople, they just can't really accept the funnel that you have, and they come with this outlandish ideas of, oh, maybe no, we should do, I don't know, like let's start with cold emails now, and let's try whatever, yeah.
So basically, it's about people not trying to be too smart. So we actually say sometimes that it's better that we're just not too smart, because you want to just think about new things. You want to just think outside of the box, and we learn about think outside of the box, be creative, and people think that's the way. But actually, oftentimes it's just about scaling and repeating what works. As sad and as boring as it sounds, it's just about repeating what works. So it's important to specify what you said, to get people with the right personality that can actually repeat certain things. So it's actually not possible for certain personalities like myself to repeat certain tasks. but I'm very intuitive with, for example, hiring or marketing. But there are people who can like greatly, with a lot of pleasure and joy, repeat certain tasks over and over again and just get better and better at this.
Hey guys, before we move on, I wanted to talk about something very special very quickly. If you are interested in running or are already running YouTube ads, this is for you. I wanted to introduce you to a few people that are killing it with YouTube ads. Mike made over $1.5 million with e-commerce YouTube ads. Bastian did over $300,000 for a client at a 10x ROAS. Boyd's making $5 grand a day with his course. Kale made a client $40,000 from just $8,000 in ad spend. Lloyd made a client $33,000 from $12,000 in ad spend. Do you know what the one thing they have in common? They're all part of my expert YouTube ads training program. We have the most technical YouTube ads course in the market with live weekly calls, a Facebook group where you can ask any question you want about YouTube ads, and more. And some of the best students spending thousands or even $10,000 a day on YouTube advertising. So there's a link below in the description to go book a demo call. Go and book a call to get a preview of the course and see if it's a fit for you and if it can help you get your YouTube ads to $5,000 a day or more. Now let's get back to the rest of this video. Got it. So very high level, basically what you're doing is Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn, Instagram to social media, to cold calling, and then you're hiring salespeople to do the messaging part, and then you're hiring another person. So you're hiring an SDR, sales development rep, to do the messaging, and another person who's calling. So you essentially have this two-step process. So they kind of have their own parts and they stick to it. And so, quick question. So let's say somebody wanted to, let's say an agency owner, freelancer was watching this. They want to try this out without necessarily hiring somebody first, so they want to give it a test by doing it themselves, see if it works, prove it, and then scale it up. What would be the practical steps to actually, let's say do a test that would actually get them some clients with the system? What does that kind of look like?
So let's say you want to book your first client. Based on our statistics, you need to book between 6 to 8 calls with this method. So and there's actually this really simple number. Like when you invest 1 hour in this method, you should book 1 call. So to get one of your first clients, you need to commit at least 10 hours to this method. Then you need to reach out to people. So I would do it probably in the beginning of the day. Let's say you want to test this out for 1 week. So maybe 10 a.m. from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. you reach out to people, and then in the afternoon people will respond. And then as soon as they respond, you pick up the phone, you check their website. There are also softwares you can use to reveal information on LinkedIn, so you find their phone number there. You give them a call. You have a simple script. You can literally use what I just said in the beginning of this video, and then you book calls. And then KPI should be book 1 to 2 calls per day. And if you do that for 1 week and you have some decent closing skills, you already get your first client.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's a very scalable system because it's nothing about that requires you to be doing it 100%. So one thing I'm curious about, you guys mentioned that you have different people doing the messaging and then doing the calling. How do you kind of deal with that when, let's say, there's a different person here and a different person there? Do they is this person logged into the sales guy's LinkedIn, or how does that work?
So we're talking now about who is going to do the work, who's behind the messages, for example. Or so there will be one person who's responsible for messages.
Okay.
That person does messaging. Another person could be responsible for cold calling. So that would be the connected cold call already from the message.
I think it's more about how do you manage those two kind of departments, which is important. So actually we have both of those teams connected to our CRM structure, and also we have a communication channel called Slack. And whenever someone is texting and they're hooked, the text team message the cold calling team, hey, there's this new lead, and then one of the sales guys is commenting under a thread, hey, that's mine, and they're calling those leads. So that's kind of how they communicate with each other. And then after a call, or also when there's some new information coming from the LinkedIn outreach team, you always want to put those information on the CRM, which is really, really important. So you know what is happening. Like if someone called them, like because the call team doesn't know what's happening on LinkedIn or on Facebook, on Instagram, and the way around. So like if you don't manage this properly, like some chaos is being created. So you
they
don't
need
want
to
that.
coordinate. And I'm guessing they're using like, the LinkedIn profile of the business or
of a person, and then they put all the notes. So the system is as good as, for example, if you imagine a good CRM for a hotel and you check in Tokyo and you ask for an extra pillow, and you go to New York and they already ask you, hey, would you like an extra pillow? Because all the data is in there, so everybody needs to take notes.
Got it. So CRM allows you to make sure that all that data is just stored in one place.
That's the brain of the whole thing. That's really the intelligence behind it.
Exactly. And like the bigger the sales team, the more important your CRM becomes. Like if you're just getting started and you want to make like, let's say 10, 20K per month, then I don't think you need to have this like really like complicated CRM system with automations and with like really detailed deal views. You don't need that. But like when you want to go to 100K and above, I think it makes a lot of sense to invest time, money, energy into like working on your CRM. Like I had this experience when one of my friends he like doubled his revenue from like 250 to 500K without more ad spend, just by improving his CRM. Because when you have a great CRM, you make better decisions in sales, you set better priorities, you also have less like you need to invest less time and energy in thinking who should I call, and it's also way more fun. Like a CRM also should like gamify the whole process, because you see what other salespeople do, you get motivated by other people, and it's just like really uplifting. So
we also have a commission system where you can see the bar of how much commissions each salesperson made. So it's a little bit more competitive, and salespeople are usually competitive. So they are those people who like adrenaline, they like to compete. So it is actually very nice to visualize who is farther away. So it's like a race towards the end of the month, and it's quite a simple system to set up in Google Sheets.
Got it. And so what point should an agency or consulting education company, at what point should they hire the first salesperson? What revenue point should that be?
I would say between like 10 to 15K.
Got it. And before that, just do it yourself. Work the system out yourself. Once you get to 15-20K, then
I would say it also depends. So like let's say you just really bad in sales and you make it between 5 to 10K, then you should just take the leap and already like invest in the salesperson. But otherwise, like when you're okay with sales, like get it to 10K and then hire a salesperson.
And it's really important to mention that it has never ever happened that any salesperson that we would hire wouldn't at least make an ROI. We would never lose money on new salespeople hired.
Because it's so simple. Like let's say you sell a product that costs between 5 to 20K. I mean, you only need to get one sale per month, and it's already paid off. Like and then like you pay salespeople with like a mix. Like that's how we do it. A mix of a fixed salary and a commission scheme. So like the fixed salary, like that you need to commit to a salesperson, is quite low. Like it's really easy to get a return of investment here. And like that's our experience here.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that was a question I was going to ask, is like how much do salespeople cost? So you guess it's a fixed plus commission.
I can give you the numbers. So salespeople can work remotely from anywhere in the world, no matter where they are from, and they cost you around 1,000 euros of a fixed salary. That's around $1,100, $200 as a base. And this is just something you pay them even if they don't close at all. It's just so they feel comfortable, they see your commitment, they know you have a good product and revenue, and you just give them some basic stability so they're not stressing out. And most of the money they make is from commissions. So our commission scheme is 5% for booking a call. So that's what, for example, a cold caller would get. 5% for setting the call, which is qualifying the prospect. So that's the call that is booked by the cold caller. So it's to qualify the prospect. And then the setter books the closer call, and the closer gets 10%. So that costs you 20% of the close sale revenue. It costs you €1,000 per month of a fixed, so that's your risk, but it always gets a return. And sure, you have some costs of managing the system. You need calling software, for example. So you have some crazy calling software that you can, for example, join the calls live, and we can just join, we can see everybody's calls at the same time simultaneously, and we can just switch between them and be on the listen only. So that's really exciting. We also can get international phone numbers. Like, we can be in different countries, but still have UK phone number, German phone numbers. It's really, really exciting that you can have this whole call center system run from wherever you want to, and everyone can just plug into it.
Which system is that?
So there's different options. There's Just Call, there is Cloud Talk, there's different systems. Some of them have some technical issues in different countries. So far, the one that works best for us is Cloud Talk. Also, you have some costs of things like Pipedrive, like CRMs. So you have costs per user. So you end up having some extra expenses of, I don't know, maybe €200 of some expenses per salesperson to maintain them, Slack, things like this, but it's really not much. It's really, really, really affordable.
Got it. Okay, so let's say you're like a business owner, agency owner, and you're just trying to figure out, okay, how do I actually start hiring salespeople, right? Because I know a lot of agencies. I have a lot of friends. They're in the 50K a month, 200K a month range, right? Some of them do have sales teams, but they're not doing what you guys are talking about, right? They're not doing that at all. They have more like SDRs and then closers, but they don't have that middle, which is the cold caller, right? Where you're taking somebody message on LinkedIn and then calling them. How would they basically implement the system if maybe they have 0 salespeople, 1 salespeople, or a sales team that's like maybe kind of small and isn't doing that?
I think they should talk to us.
Yeah.
We could explain the method.
Yeah.
We teach it as well.
Got it. So you guys basically teach it. All right, guys. So you heard that. You heard that. Make sure to basically grab if you guys are interested in actually scaling your sales team, these guys do it. So grab a link and book a call. I've learned so much from this call. Like, I have one of my sales guys, Melek. I'm sure some of you have talked to him. He's going to be definitely trying some of this stuff out. So this is going to be interesting. And yeah, so basically with this system, what kind of results are your clients getting?
So recently we hired a salesperson for a video company, for a film production company, and after hiring him 2.5 months later, he generated 75K in revenue for the company, and these are like results you can expect. So with him at deal size, it's between 5 to 20K.
That's really, really impressive. So guys, I'll have a link below to basically book a call with you all, but is there anywhere else where they can kind of find out more about you?
They could check our YouTube channels, depending if you're speaking English or German. If you speak English, check my YouTube channel. It's Matt Laker. You can type it on YouTube. Probably the link below if you're so kind. And John Harder YouTube channel is in German. Or you can also check our company websites, tribalmastermind.com and johnharderconsulting.com. Those are respectively the English and German websites, so it depends where you're from. You can check either of these.
Got it. Cool, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure to smash the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can watch the next video when it comes out.